So Heba, thank you ever so much for joining us today on the latest version of talking to all our tutor team around the world. A little bit of an introduction about yourself, just a little bit about yourself before we sort of talk about a lot more about you.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much, Lincoln, for giving me this chance, and thanks to Chimera Science and Kinetic Control. I'm Heba Ibrahim, and as you know, I'm an Egyptian physical therapist working in Kuwait. I have a background of working in musculoskeletal and women's health for more than 20 plus years, and I'm a senior tutor with Prime Physio. I had graduated from Cairo University in 1995. And since then, I've continuously worked on the educational journey. And it ended with the massive, wonderful kinetic control part.
Well,
that added a lot. That added a lot to my backgrounds of musculoskeletal, manual therapy, and women's health. So I've been shadowing a lot of international tutors. I've been teaching to a lot of my postgraduate colleagues for multiple courses. I have myself been certified as a women's health and a certified Mulligan practitioner and dry needle practitioner. So I've been always looking to add to my toolbox in favor of having everything that could help me when I get stuck with any of my patients. I'm so passionate about what I do as a physical therapist because I know that the best thing in this world is the ability of a person to ease other people's pain or help them go back to live their lives independently and not feeling that they are weak or needing someone else. So that journey started when I finished my training year, actually, because the years I was in physical therapy at school, I knew there was something good about this profession because I entered there with my passion. I chose to be a physical therapist. I was not forced to, but I felt that I was very confused with a lot of knowledge. When I went with my training year, I had to pass with different people problems. And this is when I knew, yes, I can learn more to help people. um, it's something that I love about physical therapy is you don't have standard guidelines that you have to like protocols follow with each patient. Every person is a unique creative person with different thing that doesn't have to follow one umbrella of treatment, which is what makes us very unique in our profession actually. And that is why I learned that the best thing about learning is teaching others. I had the chance to be in a counterpart with the Canadian team that was here in Kuwait back in the 1999 and 2000s. And one of the things that I really loved and learned from the Western part of learning is that you have to start teaching what you know, because the more you educate others, you're actually listening to yourself and reading more and getting to know more and experiencing more sites of how you can help others and learn from them.
Before then, so before you're doing that sort of 1995 education, why this then? Why was it physical therapy? Do you think that's where I'm going to go with this?
Yeah, well, when I finished my high school, I had a lot of options to be able to pass through and continue my education. And I had the chance to be pharmacologist or a physical therapist. The thing that I loved about physical therapist when I read up is one of my colleagues who has been there before me entering the college, and she told me that she started to learn about the anatomy and the human being, and it's not so dull as like the physicians or the doctors thing, which I'd really felt is going to be a very long journey, and there's a lot of doctors out there. What would make me different? And back there in the 90s, physical therapy was not very well known in the Arab world. It was recognized, but it was mismatched. That it's more of like massaging or doing hands-on. And I'm a curious person by nature in a good way. So I said, well, I guess it's not something that has to do of a routine. I'm going to be able to contact more people rather than being a pharmacologist. It's going to give me the passion of learning on daily basis. So that's when I said, okay, let me start this as a study.
So the education process then took you to working clinically. So did you move straight in sort of working clinically straight from university then?
Yes, I did. Since the training year, I started training in different private clinics. And in Cairo, we have the training year going in the governmental hospitals where you have to deal with the obligatory training in certain governmental hospitals to serve people. And on the other hand, I was working as a part-time in a private clinic where I had to deal with actors, very high standard people. So I was seeing the two different parts, two ends of the community. People that had that luxurious lifestyle, sedentary, having everything to serve them, and complaining of pain. And on the other hand, seeing people that were really not having a full service and had a lot of struggle with their lives. But again, they're having the same complaint. And since that time, I started to compare and to know more. How can I help both sectors? If I have all the facilities here, how can I transform that to the people who could not have the access for all the ways of having the proper treatment in a field that has a lot of denial from others or underestimating from others in the teamwork. Um, One of the things that I really liked is that on the time I was doing my training here, I had a lot of colleagues who were pharmacologists that were my friends and a lot of physicians in different sectors. So I started attending with them and trying to do like a teamwork, a multidisciplinary team concerning and consulting about my patients. So since then, I was working clinically. So back from 95, and I've been more passionate about musculoskeletal sector.
Okay. So the continuing that sort of interaction with others and also, I guess, learning from others as well with those
Yes.
different skill sets, different backgrounds. So we go through education, we go into working clinically, we start to sort of also interact with different groups, with working with quite high profile individuals as well, you mentioned in there. And when did you start getting involved in teaching? Because that's quite a leap.
The first thing that took me to that site and understand that I have a bit of a skill in passing information was when educating my patients. So when I had to translate all the English knowledge that I've been studying into simplified Arabic to teach my patients, and then was able to find a way to let them know what I'm doing, just highlighted something inside me as if a light was going up that maybe I have a skill to pass something. Then when I moved to Kuwait back to be with my family, because I was born here in Kuwait and my family was back here after the invasion. So when I came back and had a chance to work here in Kuwait and have met the Canadian team, and a lot of the work that we do in the clinic and the counterpart ends with you presenting for all the colleagues what did you learn new and what did you read and how did you manage and what are the case studies that you'd like to share with. To end the counterpart, you had to do a lot of presentation. So this is when I started, okay, now I'm more passionate about what I've learned, how to let others who didn't have that chance to get to that knowledge. And then came Mahmoud in Prime Physio.
Okay,
Yes.
let's just pause there before we get Mahmoud and Prime Physio in. How long was it that you'd been in private practice or working clinically before you went, actually, maybe teaching is something I can do as well? So how
Yeah,
long
so
was that?
let's say I started working clinically since 1996, and I started the teaching literally in 2012. That is
Okay.
when I started, yeah, passing knowledge as teaching and not just on small groups of my colleagues doing the scientific and services. Yeah,
Okay. So by then you got extensive clinical mileage.
yeah,
So it's simply not the case that a couple of years then you go in and
no,
sort of
yeah,
just, I guess, teaching what you'd sort of learned
no,
at
yeah.
university. It was now sort of very much you had what you'd filtered yourself, and then giving that to people attending those courses. Okay. So you mentioned Mahmoud, you mentioned Prime Physio. So how did that all start?
Yeah, I met Mahmoud here in Kuwait in one of the Mackenzie courses he was presenting. Actually, it was more of an orthopedic manual therapy course. And then I had to meet him in a couple of other courses. And he said, well, I believe the way you're introducing knowledge to your colleagues means that you have the skill. So why don't we start engaging you with us in Prime Physio, and then you can give your own courses. Specifically, that he knew that I already have trained students that come from university for clinical placements, and have been giving training programs for smaller groups in the hospital itself. So he said, how about extending that? And that started actually in 2013. This is when I started going into giving more of the workshops with Mahmoud, and besides the training programs I've been giving at the Ministry of Health.
Okay. And then over then this period of years, through the sort of 2010s, somewhere along the line, you got exposed to something called kinetic control. So how did that happen?
I was actually, Mahmoud has met Sarah in one of the courses, and he was giving the orthopedic manual therapy here in Kuwait, and I was shadowing with him. And then he started telling me, what do you think about kinetic control? Because he knew that I was very much into movement and muscles and how do they interact. And I was trying to dig more about that, trying to address it. And that's why I was very much passionate about Mulligan, biased concerning Mackenzie, because there was movement in what we're doing with the manual therapy. So when he introduced me to the kinetic control, and he said, we're expecting Sarah to come. So are you going to be there? And I said, yes, definitely, I'm going to be there. It's going to be a chance that I wouldn't like to miss. So in 2018 was the first time I met Sarah and was introduced to kinetic control. It was a bit confusing at start, but I know that there was something very good about the content. I knew this is what I was looking for, but I need to understand more. I need to learn more. I knew that Sarah had an excellent background of research and clinical experience. And I was looking forward to how can I be having such a person by these years being able to address knowledge that is so deep. And I was really eager to have the same thing and the same path. So you can say starting from then, I started to fall in love with kinetic control and added to work. And I attended multiple courses for multiple tutors, because I was always aiming to see how every one of the tutors was able to introduce the concept. Clinical wise, research wise, to get my own understanding and not just passing what I just listened to others. And I really loved about the team in kinetic control, what I really loved is that we are really like synergies. We work as a team to complete a task, and each one of us just fills a gap so that others can do the job perfectly. And this is the best thing that I love about kinetic control team and Prime Physio team.
So we go from 2018, then we go through the crazy time of 2020 and how the world is at this time. And it's a time also when you're sort of starting to get involved as a tutor. So how did that decision come about? Because now you are a tutor for Prime Physio. You've been exposed to this thing called kinetic control. And is it now the case you're going, well, we definitely want to teach this, so it's always in the plan? Yep. Okay.
Yeah, and actually in COVID was the right time for us to address kinetic control, because that was the time that everyone was fearing infection. There was a lot of the telehealth going on. And the only thing that you can address through telehealth is movement. So I really felt that we're going to learn from kinetic control, the teaching solutions that we learned from you, how we can pass movement, analyze it on distance through telehealth. And I actually worked on a project with one of the university tutors that was doing a telehealth and how much it was helpful in the COVID time. And the only thing that I noticed is that yes, it's all about movement. It's all about our observational skills. We can really help people even if they can't come to the clinic, especially the elderly ones, the people that were really in need to be addressed to health providers. and there was a lot of risk that they feared to come to clinics or hospitals. People who were not able to travel and need to see someone. And I had the chance to see that with even my friends who were complaining and were not able to come. This is when I felt, well, I guess this is the right time with Prime Physio, me, Fatma, and Mahmoud, that we need to start working on the tutor thing and package. Maybe I didn't have the chance, like Fatma, to have shadowing a lot of tutors, which made me a bit confused and hesitated at start. But I guess that was the best part about me. And this is what I even tell others. It's not about succeeding from the first time. It's about having the passion and learning from the mistakes that keeps you on the right path, specifically if you believe in it. And because I believed in movements and I believed on what Kinetic and Chimera was giving, I was really challenging myself and nothing else, that I have to be very good in this. And all the people who attended with me the courses, the most important question I ask, because I see them on weekends, I don't need to travel. So instead of having that condensed 4 days, I see them on 2 different weekends. So the second week and the first thing I ask, what did you learn and how did you implement that on patients? And amazing feedback is that, you know what, we tried to call some patients because some of the things you said just highlighted why were we missing something and our patients were not improving. And that just like makes me feel so thrilled that I was able to pass such a wonderful knowledge that I learned from you guys to people that can be helped, even if they're not just my patients.
What's your teaching schedule like right now in say 2023?
What I'm doing now is that I set at least 2 intakes per year. Here in Kuwait, things were a little bit struggling at start because we went into a closure phase last year, and then we opened again. So I had to change a lot of the times. People were still not aware of what is the importance of kinetic control. Well, they look for the quick fixes like dry needling, cupping, mobilizing, instrument movements. They're not into the movement and understanding well. So I started doing and establishing a platform where I start to address to people why is movement important, what is about kinetic control. And actually, as Prime, we're doing a lot of work of addressing that to a lot of the community that we're meeting in. So right now I'm trying to pass the word through people that attend the course. Why is it important? And through Prime Physio and a lot of the like conferences that are going, the online stuff that we've been doing, the interaction with a lot of the social media, me speaking to my colleagues at work, and I'm noticing there's something different about what I address with my patients. So I guess starting this year, I'm going to be more standard about having 2 intakes per year and being able to have more people into the teaching thing. Definitely, my teaching styles have differed since I started coming to what I was passing, and I noticed myself because now I have a lot of more confidence and I've added more of my experience in the clinic that can be added to whatever I'm giving and what to do. The continuous discussions that we do in Prime Physio as a team, me, Mahmoud, and Fatma, has enriched a lot of my background. So I guess that was the part that I overcome concerning the shadowing. Again, I can say that I'm still looking forward once I can travel anywhere is to attend with any one of the well-known tutors, because I do believe no matter how strong you are in a certain field, you always learn from others and their own way of presenting anything.
Where do you think this is going? I'm sort of going to be thinking of the future now. So where's this? Do you think this is going over the next sort of 5 years or so? Where do you see movement fitting in with respect to clinical practice?
I guess this is going to be the next era. It's been starting in the past years with fitness, moving people from the sedentary lifestyles to being more active. But I guess addressing movements as in movement solutions, or even in addressing kinetic control in relation to pain or pathology or whatever underlying problems, I guess this is going to be the standard clinical practice. And I believe this is going to be very important to be addressed in the pre-graduate. So this is one of the things that I think Chimera and kinetic control should be working on, giving part of the movement solutions in the syllabus for the undergraduate physical therapy schools. This was one of the things that I was discussing with a lot of my colleagues that got that shock the moment they started learning more about synergies. Like, what you're saying takes away a lot of our old knowledge. Why isn't this the foundation that people should start from, understanding physical therapy? And a lot are now moving to going to the gym, being more active, looking for their fitness. So I guess if physical therapists assisted with like personal trainers have proper education in their schools concerning movement and addressing movement faults in their undergraduate learning, that will make a big difference, because I guess this is the era of moving out technology and getting back humans to be in control and having better movement and health.
Okay, so I'm thinking now then that any final thoughts in terms of, I guess, this topic of movement health and kinetic control for 2023?
I have nothing more to add, but we're doing a good job. We have to all believe that we're doing something great. And the more we have tutors to pass the knowledge, the more the passion is going to be addressed. And I believe we have to send our message to more people throughout the social media. It's not just about exercise. It's not just about addressing and treating, just doing exercise. It's actually about recruiting and moving in the right way to prevent and also be able to predict if a patient is going to be able to be, if someone is going to be easily injured at a certain point. So we can be the founders for helping others in the community and passing knowledge to others who can be in charge of changing a lot in our countries, either in the Middle East or in the Western part. So that means we have to have a louder voice, and that will be by sending more knowledge, passing more knowledge about the importance of movement for students in schools, for students in college, for people that goes to the gym. Screening for work, it could be parts that we can address. Sports injuries and being in certain public areas where we can address for sports and how we can prevent injuries from happening, which would definitely mean have more money-wise saved on sports and other people that are in that field. I believe we have a very, very important role in the higher Ministry of Health aspects in our countries, where we can help in saving money by preventing injuries from happening or helping people so that we don't have to waste a lot on just modalities or painkillers or even surgeries, which will help in saving people's lives at a long term.
So, okay, so that's, I mean, very far-reaching consequences of changing this process of how we use this human behavior called movement, and how we might try to change it through, again, systemized frameworks such as kinetic control. It's incredibly positive, that story. They're incredibly important, I think, narrative as well. You're sort of identifying there, Heba. So thank you ever so much. Let's sort of round it up. I'm going to say thanks ever so much for your time today. Really great to talk to you. Such enthusiasm and energy about this. It's great to hear, and I can see why sort of Prime Physio's courses do so well, because it's such a sort of a strong belief in the system and the benefits of it. Okay, Well,
thank you very much, Lincoln, for your time, and thank you for everything and for your support.
no problem. Catch you
Thank
later.
you. See you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.